Wow. Now, should I take a loan of 400,000 and start my wife a business, or should I take a loan of 400,000 and start my spouse a business? It can be a man borrowing for the sake of starting a business for the wife, or it can be the wife borrowing to start a business for the husband. Either way can go anyway. The point is, should I borrow that money to actually do that? That is actually a client who asked me that question, and I faced this question like a lot of times anyway. People asking me, "Hey Joseph, you know what? I would like to start a business. For me, I'm quite busy. I have a spouse who is not that busy. Maybe I'm thinking, maybe I can start a business." Blah, 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 all those kind of things. Now, on this video, I'm gonna share with you the brutal truth, what you're supposed to do if you're caught in a situation whereby you have to borrow to start a business to your spouse or your loved one. It can be your mother, it can be your father, it can be your siblings. Yo, listen, 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 listen. Okay, before you make any decisions when it comes to borrowing and taking, or rather borrowing to start a business, first of all, this is Good Joseph speaking. That's my name. Are we together? All right. And what I post is always things to do with investments, businesses, finances, and anything like that. And guess what? On this channel, I never share theoretical things. I share practical, real things and such kind of things. Okay. Now, what I do is that I upload a video each and every day. And if you don't want to miss any of my good videos, go ahead and hit that subscription button, turn that notification bell, and like this video, and leave me a comment on the comment section. Let's get into the business now. Here you are. You're caught in between borrowing 400,000 to start your wife a business. Now, should you go ahead and do that? That is not a question that I can answer in a form of yes or no. No, why? Because I need, first of all, to dissect you. When I say dissect you, I don't mean like anatomically, biologically. I mean like financially, to understand who you are borrowing for and who is borrowing. I have to identify those two entities to understand who they are and where their purpose is and such. Okay. Remember, there was a video that I made here and I told you we have 4 personalities when it comes to cash. Okay, 4 personalities. All right, 4 personalities. Okay. When I say 4 personalities, I mean people behave differently when it comes to money. See, if you give me, say, if you write a check and give me $1 million, Bob, and put it in my bank account, that is the way I'll behave. There is a different way how another person will behave. That's a reality. So first of all, the very basic thing that you need to understand for you or from your spouse is their money personalities. We have people who are called the spenders. Okay, spenders. I mean, if your spouse really, he or she is suffering from spending, these are the guys who get the money and they think it's all about buying something, having fun. These are the people who believe in something called YOLO. If they are believers of YOLO, you only live once, yeah? There are people who believe life is short, you should enjoy, la, 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 la. So if there are those kind of people with that kind of a mentality, may not be the best people to actually start them a business or even borrowing to give them. Because what happens is that they usually think like, money can actually be perceived in two ways. One, money can be perceived as a product to be consumed. Two, especially if you are poor mentality or consumer mentality. Two, money can actually be perceived as a tool to make more of it. Okay. Two, we usually have people who we call them the, frugal people, frugal people. Frugal people, these are people who, you find them, they have the money, but they live the minimal. They are kind of minimalist, if I may use the term, minimalist. These are the people you find them, they don't even buy a shirt. Like, they love to live the most minimal lifestyle in terms of their spending. There are people who don't even want to, spend their cash. Just, you get what I'm saying, okay? And then we have the people whom we call them the, there are these people we call them, how can I frame this? Let me just call them hoarders, due to lack of a better word. They are hoarders. Hoarders, these are people who keep money. They fear investing. They are paranoid. They tell you, like, they always give you a reason why they should not invest their cash. Oh, it's not the best time. Oh, economies are going down. We are facing recession. I don't believe in this government. This government will actually collapse. Oh, this government will default. I cannot buy a treasury bills. Oh, you know what? They have their excuses. They just want to keep the money. They just keep the money. Just keep the money. These are the people who suffer from the financial traumas. People suffer from the financial traumas, just like we have relationship traumas. These are the people who grew up being told by their parents, money don't grow on trees. They grew up with this scarce mentality. So they grew up with this scarce mentality. So they always fear to invest because they don't want to lose the cash. So they believe you can save yourself to wealth. So that's why they are called holders. And then the last people, of course, there are people, we call them the investors. Okay, investors, of course, these are people definitely, they understand the principles of investments, growing the money and what have you. So anyway, the point was, should I borrow the 400k? When I say I don't mean me, I mean like it's a question that was posted to me, and I found it worth to share with you. You can probably, snap 1, 2, or 3 things here that you can be able to do, because I have seen a lot of people doing this mistake. You start them a business, the next minute, you people, you're actually fighting. When I say fighting, can be literally, or it can be, of which I highly discourage, or it can be fighting in terms of the verbally and what abuse. And by the way, I don't know whether you know this, over 75% of divorces are contributed by finances. Okay, now point is this: once you understand who they are, and these are some of the serious questions that you should be asking your partners when you people are dating. Not, do you love me, whatever, all those kind of things. No, ask these questions. Sometimes they may lie to you, but you can actually see how they, how can I frame it? You can actually see how they behave around their money. If you're dating a man there and you find the guy is a spender, the guy is a hoarder, the guy does not, the guy, he sees good Joseph and blocks him because he doesn't love to be told the truth that life is not short as may think. Like it's actually a red flag when it comes to the finances. No, borrowing to start a business, there's nothing wrong with it. I highly support it. If you know what you're starting, if that business that you're starting, you understand it. Now let's go to the level 2 before you borrow to start that wife a business. Is she a business person? Is she a business oriented? Is she mesmerized by growth? Has she ever run a business before? Does she understand that particular business? Or are you starting that business out of, I had this guy who actually told me, I want to start my wife a business because I don't want her to be idle. So the whole purpose is not even making money, is to make her not be idle. So the question is, seriously, you just want to start a business because, and do you know, there are also some people who start a business because the money is there. Have you ever come across this individual who ask you, let's say maybe you're running a boutique business. They see a boutique business and it's quite nice, and then they ask you, hey, wow, how much do you think would cost to start this business? And then you tell them, with 300,000, you're good to go. They're like, okay. Oh, I have the 300,000, so I can start it. There are people who start a business because they have the money, not because they have the money and the knowledge, because you need to do those two things. You don't start a business because you have the money. You start a business because you have the money and you have the knowledge about that particular business. Okay? Now, you have to understand, does this individual understand this business? Okay, fine. Second thing that most of the people don't pay keen about it. Who came up with this idea? Who said, I need a business? I want a business? Who said, I really... It depends, because sometimes I usually see this. Yeah, having worked in a construction industry, I saw this example. You find that a husband is a plumber, and then what he does, the guy, sort of accumulates a particular amount of money, goes, starts a plumbing business. When I say plumbing business, I mean like a plumbing shop, where you're selling those parts of whatever, the plumbing work. And then he sort of gives the wife to run that particular business. And then one thing you realize that this particular individual, the wife, you find like she doesn't want that particular kind of a business. That is where they are attached. And of course, we know women are so loyal to their feelings. They are loyal to their feelings. That's for sure. So you find maybe she's into, maybe let's say she's into, say, a butchery, maybe she's into restaurant, maybe she's to a different being, a fashion, a beauty, a cosmetic, whatever. She's of different mentality. But now here you are, you've actually told her, hey, go ahead and run this particular business. Then you're wondering, why is the business making losses each and every time? Because the individual whom you placed there is not really attached to that particular business. But there is a disclaimer here. You may find an individual, she may not be attached to that particular business, but it's the business that is actually moving. It's the business that is making money. And you find this individual can actually partner, beyond the normal love partnership, to the business perspective, and these people will run that particular business to their fullest. And there is one thing I always tell people not to do: never follow your passion when it comes to dream creation, when it comes to achieving your dreams, because passion will always lead you to comfort. That's for sure. Sometimes you may be passionate about something that cannot make money. Let's say you are passionate about selling cereals and you live amongst the farmers and you love cereals. You see, you can't start cereals business among the farmers. Who will buy? Everyone has their own cereals. So it is good to go beyond your passion. Okay, if the passion is actually, aligning with that particular thing that can actually sell in that particular area, then go ahead and do that business. So the point is, should you borrow to do that? Yes, you can borrow. There's nothing wrong with it. But make sure that you ask all those questions. Have you ever run a business before? Yes, I've run a business. Was it your business or you were employed? It was my business. How did it turn out? Is the business still in existence? No, it's not in existence. What happened to the business? It failed. Okay, why did it fail? It failed because, did you fail the business or the business failed you? What happened? What contributed to the failures of that particular business? Okay, no problem. Then, did you learn a lesson? Okay, what lessons did you learn out of that business failing? Oh, I was not good at financial management. Oh, I employed somebody who was stealing from me. Oh, the location of that business was not the best place. Oh, okay, you know what? I was not getting the quality products. Or maybe my pricing was wrong. Or maybe the product that I was getting, and the competition was high. Did you learn a lesson? Yes, I learned a lesson. You know, most of the people, they actually start a business, it fails, then they immediately switch to a different business, and they still carry themselves with the same weaknesses. If the problem that actually contributed to the failure of that business was you, you're simply changing to a different business with the same problems. It's like changing the forest, but the monkey is still the same. So you need to understand what exactly contributed to that particular business. Are we together? Or it wasn't my business, I was actually employed. Okay, did you learn about that particular business? What skills did you get out of from that particular business? Or financial management, and all those kind of things. So it is good when you do an on overhaul, sort of discussion and an agreement, and check, background check, so that you can understand whom I'm getting this money from alone. Because you see, for you to borrow to start a business, you must have yourself a very nice elaborate strategy to repay that loan. And by the way, if you ask me, I would love I would highly recommend that you tell your partner that indeed you borrowed this money. Some men usually hide, and they tell their wives or whatever their spouses, this is actually my money. No, let them know. And if it is possible, go to that particular institution where you're borrowing with them, and they can actually attest indeed this money was a borrowed money. And the moment they understand that this money was a borrowed money, so no jokes will actually be involved in that particular business. And of course, you have to come up with a structure of how you can actually do what? You can actually actualize that particular business. If the business, or rather, if the loan is requiring you to pay, say, 30,000 each and every month, so you have a strategy on how you'll be paying your 30,000 each and every month. So you let them know. Not until we've made the 30,000, every month, we will actually not off the hooks. And remember, we use, say, XYZ for our security or as a collateral, just in case we are not in a position to pay this particular loan. So when you bring all these understandings, and you realize that somebody is responsive to that particular thing, then you can get into it. But the moment you realize the person does not understand the principle of loans and how they function and how you can capitalize on them and how you can make cash out of them, then that can be a little bit of a tougher time. And I would highly discourage getting that money to start them that particular business, because it will actually end up in premium tiers. I wish not to make this video a long one, but I was actually trying to put it across there so that all of us can actually benefit out of that particular case scenario. Anyway, the point is, we had to do an overhaul of the spouses and see whether they can actually run that business. And the good thing is, actually, she can be able to run that business. And as we speak right now, they're actually on the preliminary stages of starting that particular business. I'm doing my cross fingers, believing and hoping that it will actually work and everything will be good in that particular business. Now, this is good, Joseph. In case you would love to have my services, you, or maybe you as a couple or spouses or whatever, as an individual, you can always get that number of mine from the description of this specific video, and you can have a session, be it either virtually or physically. This is Good Joseph speaking. For now, it's goodbye, and see you in the next one.